Hello and welcome. Let me shift over so I'm actually center of the screen and not off to the side for some reason to Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Show. It is 1 p.m. GMT on a Tuesday, and that's when we sit down here on YouTube Live to talk about the latest goings on in professional wrestling. But don't forget, you can also get it on podcast, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. It's just there. You just search for Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Show, and you can check it out if you don't want to have YouTube in your pocket as you walk around, or if you're not able to catch these wonderful little streams that we do. But thank you to everyone who is joining me live. I see that somebody has said, how is this only for patrons when it's here? You got to ignore that. I don't choose. So basically, every time I do a video, I make sure I ping it over to patrons. This is a cheap plug as well. Patreon.com/Simon Miller 316. Genuinely, if you can throw $1 in there, it helps me do this so much, because I don't earn much money from this otherwise. That's the truth. Unfortunately, Patreon's got this new thing now. When you alert patrons about your content, the header in the email says, exclusive for patrons. I don't control that. That's a Patreon thing. There are things that go on Patreon that is just for patrons, but I don't get to control what Patreon says. They've just thrown that in there. What else do we need to talk about? You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Simon316. Shout out to pinsandknuckles.com for sponsoring and supporting Simon's Pro Wrestling Show. And yeah, look, we're live on YouTube. If you want to ask a comment, you got a question, any of those things, you can use a super chat. Another way to support the podcast as and when you should so wish. And I do appreciate everybody that does that. Let's talk about Raw, man. We are 6 days away from the Raw Rumble. Kind of not as pumped as I usually am for the pay-per-view at this time of the year, but look, everything's different. Usually we'd be looking forward to SmackDown in but a few hours, but obviously SmackDown is now on Fridays. So hopefully by Saturday we'll feel a bit different. I'm sure that WWE will do the obligatory everybody get in the ring and have a big brawl, and some people will be chucked over the top rope because that's just what we do. I guess really, we didn't focus that much on the Raw Rumble, which was interesting. We had Drew McIntyre talking about it. We had Randy Orton talking about it. Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and Randy Orton all kind of threw little bits and bobs in there when they said, well, I will be in the Royal Rumble, the Royalist Rumble. But there was no, it feels to me like Brock Lesnar was on the show, right? And he is the centerpiece of the Raw Rumble. But it certainly feels like to me, from a Raw point of view, you're meant to focus on Brock coming in at number one. But that isn't where we're going to get our winner, right? Our winner's going to be on SmackDown. And maybe they'll kind of, I don't know, will they ham that up more? Because really the guy that I think is going to win is Roman Reigns. He is going to be my pick. We'll do a proper prediction show later in the week. But he is my proper prediction. But he's going to be more, in terms of a storyline and an angle, he's going to be more talking about his Falls Count Anywhere with Baron Corbin. So it's a very interesting year for the Rumble. I don't quite know what we're going to do. But maybe that will be, that will be a good thing. What we should do is we should get up the people that have announced who is in so far. There is a list because I saw it. There we are. Boom. I got this up the other day, you see. Good old history. So the people announced for the Royal Rumble so far are Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles, Eric Rowan, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, if Rey Mysterio makes it, Elias, King Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Otis, Tucker, Rusev, Bobby Lashley, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Braun Strowman, Shinsuke Nakamura, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. So we have 8 people that can potentially... that's kind of not that many, is it? Let's go with all the rumors, right? Let's say Edge is in it. That's 23. Let's say that Keith Lee is in it. 24. A couple of other NXT guys are up to 26. Obviously, focus on the men's one here. Although, actually, we should talk about the women's one as well. I'm still not used to it because it's only 3 years old. They've done the promotion they did for that, maybe why I didn't even think about it, is Charlotte Flair going, I shall win the Royal Rumble. That's all everybody's done. I will. Nothing else. There's no mini feuds going into it. There's no little stories. And really, the best Royal Rumbles are the ones when WWE is able to do that. You get excited about people facing off. But look, I love the Royal Rumble either way. I love the Royal Rumble regardless. I was just slightly taken aback, but there wasn't a bigger whoop bang, wow. The fact we're coming into what is my favorite pay-per-view. And I think it's a lot of people's favorite pay-per-views. And I think a lot of fans return to WWE when they know the Royal Rumble is going to begin. Doesn't mean they're necessarily going to watch Raw. They're probably happy to go in cold, and I think you probably could. But I'm just surprised, a bit taken aback. But not as surprised as I was by Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy winning the Tag Team Championships, which is the title of this week's video. Certainly made me raise an eyebrow. It was spoiled for me. I did the silly thing of going online, which I don't usually do before Raw, and I was like, what a because I don't mind finding out that Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins won the titles, because there's a lot of good to come out of that. Buddy Murphy having a championship, for example. If you had told me that at the beginning of the year that Buddy Murphy was going to get that, I'd be like, yeah, 2 thumbs up. He's the best kept secret. He's really good. He's done everything you could have asked of him. Let's put him in a position to shine. Let's see what he can do at the top of the card. And yet, when you have a group that has Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, and the AOP, why aren't the Authors of Pain going after the tag team championships? And more to that point, why were the Authors of Pain? Authors of Pain got chucked into a feud just to lose their titles. And I could handle that more if I thought coming out the end of this, we could get Authors of Pain versus the Viking Raiders. I think this is the reason I think they've done it. And I'm 99% sure I'm correct here. So why they've done it. It's because, coming out the Rumble, I don't believe Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, Kevin Owens, or Samoa Joe is going to win the Rumble, right? I'd love it if one of them did, but I'll be amazed. So I think coming out, you need a story, so it's smart. They're doing long-term booking, and a round of applause for WWE for doing a lot better of that over the last couple of months. But clearly they want to do that tag team match, and somebody backstage has decided, it's going to be more interesting if the WWE tag team title's on the line. I disagree. I think it would be much more interesting if the Authors of Pain are your champions. They're feuding with the Viking Raiders. You have this tag team match, and you can go whichever way you want with that. And then Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy go and pick away at the singles division. I think that's a much better way to build the group. I think it tells a better story. It doesn't go back to the well, especially with Seth Rollins, who now has had... he was tag champions with Dean Ambrose, with Roman Reigns. He won it with somebody else. He's won it loads of times with random people. So I don't really get that. But it's not a bad thing. It's certainly not a bad thing. It's a good thing, DDP. But I just think that it was just weird. And having the Viking Raiders, who have held those belts since October, never really been in a proper feud, been doing squash matches up to this point, just come out and say, by the way, we don't like your group, and then lose their belts. A little bit stuff just happens, right? Shout out to Sean Gilhorn in the super chat, always supporting the podcast or the show. Thank you so much. And please, if you'd like to do a super chat, please do. Murphy loses 3 in a row and becomes champ, and Black gets a squash match. What the fuck, WWE? That is a fair point. I like the Aleister Black squash match because squash matches can make you look cool. But my big takeaway from it was, I hope we have a plan for Aleister Black. I hope he hasn't just sort of fallen out of this feud with Buddy Murphy and then somebody's gone, sugar, we didn't have anything. But the Royal Rumble's in the way at the moment, as it should be. Coming out the Royal Rumble, we'll see. Maybe we even start a new program there. I don't mind Buddy Murphy being the tag team champion, though. I like the fact that he's been given something. It's just a shame there is this huge logical plot hole when you have this tag team who need belts to establish themselves as a good pairing, and yet we didn't do it. So... But I think, I get it. We need to bridge Rumble to Mania, and a nice short-running program is Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe teaming up against those two to try and win the belts. And maybe they do win the belts. I don't know. Maybe they go all the way. I couldn't say for sure. But I think at the moment, the AOP are kind of starting to fade into the background, and we don't want that. I want them to be pushed. I want this to be a new evolution, right? I know it's not the same concept, but I want Buddy Murphy to get the best out of this. I want... Akam and Razor to get the best out of this. I want whoever they're feuding with to get the best out of this. I want it to become a thing. And I think that's the best thing about groups. So, fingers crossed for that. Crappy Posts, amazing name, in the super chat says, Sami Callihan is baby little bitch. He has nothing left to lose except a small little behind that Simon will kick into obliteration. Go, Simon. Thank you, man. Yeah, that's counting down. How far away are we from that? My match with Sami Callihan will be, so that's 1, 2, 3, so that's 4 days. And it's 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks. 10 weeks, right? Yeah, 10 weeks. 10 weeks away. 10 weeks, 4 days away from when I kick Sami Callihan's ass. Thank you, my friend. I will do my best. What Culture Deathmatch? The Saturday before WrestleMania at Pancakes and Pile Drivers 4. A little bit nervous, but I'm prepared too. Biggest match of my career by a country mile. And I'm still kind of amazed that opportunity is even there, but we'll do what we can. Where's my man? Brandon Carvalho, always supporting as well. Brandon, good to see you in the super chat. Do you think Seth, Buddy, and AOP will share responsibility in defending the tag team belts? No, I can't see that at all. It wasn't hinted at. I think it would be stupid. In terms of, WWE is stupid often, but I don't think there's enough logic there. Like someone like the New Day would do it. When you got a fourth, it just wouldn't make sense. Like it's not the group isn't the tag team champions. It's different when you're a 3 because the Freebird rule is something that we are accustomed to over the years. But to do it in a 4-man group, and especially what I want them to do with this group is I'm hoping that as we move forward with this troupe. Seth Rollins said it last night, there's a dividing line. You're either with us or you're against us. The most, overused thing ever. But I hope maybe they recruit a couple more people. It's got to be the right people, and I don't want it to get NWO. But I think there's a room to do a mini, maybe a couple of months thing where it's Seth's groups against a group of other people. You just need to add the people that are going to benefit. Rusev would benefit for being in this compared to what he was in last night, which I'll talk about in a second. So, you don't want to have this sort of rule where anyone can be the tag team champion and then there's like 7 guys. And you're like, well, who the hell is the tag champion now? That would get a little bit messy. My man Josh Tiley in the super chat. Good to see you, Josh. Haven't caught a stream for a while. How are you, man? I like the fact that Murphy has a belt at least. I totally agree. So that's the one good thing. Logic aside, Buddy Murphy is getting a push. So instantly, him being in this group is worth it. Because we deserve to see what he's able to do on a bigger platform. We do. He's, ever since he won that cruiserweight belt in Australia for Super Showdown, I think if you weren't aware of him already, you certainly had your eye on him and you wanted to see what he was going to do. And, that's opened the door for this. So there's no point not trying. We have to know. Same with Aleister Black. Let's make sure we try with him too to see where we get. But I'm well otherwise, Josh. I hope you're well as well. Shelby Lynn in the Super Chat says, I'm so down for a Drew-Randy feud. Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's kind of weird how we segued out of the AJ Styles-Randy thing, obviously still involved because the OC ran down last night. I think the cool thing about it is I knew the OC were going to run down, but I didn't mind. That's kind of, me understanding what the WWE product is, of course. But no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I liked their match. I thought it was hard-hitting. I thought there was some sort of funny, in a good way, spots. And yeah, AJ Styles was always going to interfere, and I'm intrigued to see how this goes down at the Royal Rumble. I don't know if we're going to do this because it's so far away, but it feels like we're building to a triple threat match at WrestleMania, but WrestleMania is so far down the line. You're like, are we actually going to get that far? But no, I did like it. I think Randy Orton's doing some of his best work. Drew McIntyre absolutely is on top of his game, and AJ Styles is one of the best ever, so he can do whatever the hell he wants. So I did. I did enjoy all of that. It was just fun. It was just fun, entertaining, harmless stuff, and I've got a problem with it. My man Valab Mam Depidu, I hope I got that right in the super chat, says, I don't get this piece of booking. I want to understand it, and I just can't see where this goes. But I like the idea that Buddy is tagging with Seth. Yeah, I think most people have the same opinion as that. I think that's basically it's good that Buddy Murphy is getting a push. It's good the group is getting a push too, because you don't want to have a group that is rubbish. Like, we'll talk about Liv Morgan and Rusev in a moment. Pointless tag team, that didn't work out well at all. Why did no one in the back go, why don't we give it to the Authors of Pain? What is the benefit of Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy having those titles? I don't have one. I really don't. It's very peculiar. But we could be wrong. Like, we may get to the Rumble or next week on Raw, and they may have a great story in place. I hope this isn't the start of them breaking it up. That was my other worry. The Authors of Pain get jealous. That will suck. I think you've got a good 6 months in this. A year if you really want. And people may say that's way too long. Well, it used to work back in the day. Evolution was back for age. It was together for ages. And even then, they rushed kicking Randy Orton out of that thing, or at least turning him face. That was, it felt too soon. It felt like we could have gone a couple more months. And I like groups that are like that. I mean, you could say maybe the New Day has gone, not past their prime, but they probably could have broken up at some point, and that would have been fine. But I like the fact they're this unit, right? They're a unit. And I get a kick out of that. I just do. I know that Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods got each other's back no matter what they decide to do. It's fun for me. It's fun. It just is. So let's do something with this. A heel group is working for Seth Rollins. It's working for Buddy Murphy. Where the hell would the Authors of Pain have been otherwise? The tag team division just doesn't exist in WWE. So yes, I do like it, although very confused at the same time. My man Scythe in Super Chat says, hey Simon, first time being able to catch a stream. Welcome, my friend. Do you feel Asuka beating Becky this weekend is better than her losing? Who have you got? Well, I will start by saying everything with Becky, Kairi Sane, and Asuka on Raw was excellent. Genuinely excellent. I loved Becky's promo. I loved how angry Asuka was. I loved her staring over the ring like Batman. Kairi Sane is just a joy. And I think it was the right way to do it. You've got to build Becky up, and then Asuka beats Becky Lynch down. In terms of what I would do if I was booking WWE, which obviously I am, according to the internet, yes, I'd have Asuka win. I think that's a much more interesting story. If we're talking about wrestling being a drama and Shakespearean tragedies, there's a much better arc in the most popular person in the company going, I can't beat this woman, but now I've got the courage and the foresight to do it. And then losing, you can tell so many other little stories coming out of that other than, oh, and then I just beat her. But I think she will win, Becky Lynch, because I think they have other plans for her at WrestleMania. But yes, my chosen thing would be for Asuka to win. Becky Lynch goes off into a bit of a spiral or whatever you want to do, comes back, regains her belt at WrestleMania by beating her biggest challenge. That to me is nice, simple storytelling. I don't think we'll do it, but I like the idea of it. So yeah, my heart says Asuka, my head says Becky. But I don't mind Becky winning either. I think Becky is great. I think, she's nailed it the last 18 months or so. She could, I think we need to defend the belt a little bit more, but you could say that with a lot of titles on wrestling. Sometimes they just vanished entirely. But no, I loved all that. Asuka is she's on fire right now. I never see her as a heel, even though she's acting like a heel, because she's just so good in the ring. It's hard to hate her. It's hard to hate her as best as she tries, and it's the same with Kairi Sane. They're just a really good tag team. Who the hell even is the women's tag team champions right now? I know it's the Kabuki Warriors, but you would never know. Man, they need to stop doing all this crossover. That's why the AOP should be champions. It's too confusing when you cross over these championships. Like, where are the divisions, damn it? Shout out to my man Brandon in the super chat. Is Liv still a lesbian, or have WWE ignored it? Well, they did have it in the highlight package this week. I noticed that. The video beforehand did specifically mention that part when she went, "It's you, Lana." So I presume so. The biggest problem I had with that, I don't mind that it was a main event. Everyone was so mad. Why is it the main event? It's not the main event. It's the end of a 3-hour show. Less people are going to be watching that than, other stuff, because 180 minutes and we only have certain attention spans. What I don't understand is, now we are 2 for 2 in matches between Rusev and Bobby Lashley, and Rusev has lost both. Liv Morgan and Rusev teaming together did not work. Also, what a chump Rusev is. Rusev is not only facing Lana, a woman who cheated on him with Bobby Lashley, but also cheated on him with Liv Morgan, and yet he's happy to team with Liv, but he hates Bobby. It's just a mess. It's just an absolute mess. And I like everybody involved, and I think they're doing the best with what they've got. But I didn't need to see Bobby Lashley beat him again. I don't understand now why Lashley would ever fight Rusev again, because he's squandered him twice. I didn't mind all the teasing stuff when Lashley almost hit Lana, but that didn't even end in the distraction finish. And I know that Rusev got screwed because Lana was holding his leg, but I don't know. Very strange all round, I thought. I just don't get it. And I don't get where you go from here. Unless Rusev is leaving the company. That's the only thing I can think of. Rusev has said he's not going to negotiate his contract. He wants out. And so he's getting written off television in a bad way, which WWE has been known to do. Same with Matt Hardy, right? Matt Hardy came out and said that this may be one of the last times we see him on television. So maybe WWE knows that when his contract ends up in March, he's going to jump to AEW. So they're like, okay, you can get squashed by Eric Rowan. That Eric Rowan storyline needs to progress too. What's in the cage? Now he hates the cage. He was in love with the cage 12 weeks ago. Now he hates the cage because it keeps biting him. I have no idea what the hell is in that cage. I don't even know what they can do to make it work at this point. Quick shout as well. I forgot to say, if you are on my YouTube channel for the first time, please do subscribe. We are now only 3,500 away from 100,000, and I will be a happy man when that happens for no reason. Then I want 105 and 110. But if you could subscribe, that would be great. And again, if you want to join in the podcast or the show, if you've got a comment to make, please do use the super chat. I would massively appreciate it. Much like my man Sean Gearhorn has done. When you use the super chat, you get a hand on the heart. Don't ask me why. Just something I started doing once, and I don't understand where it came from. If you were going to add a woman to Seth's stable, would you have Becky lose and join, or have a lesser known used woman join? Now, I wouldn't have Becky because of the association with Seth Rollins. I think that brings up too many problems. I mean, beforehand, I would have put someone like Liv Morgan in there, but that's now an issue because it would be confusing, although you could. I mean, someone like Sarah Logan would be good. Someone like, who's not being used onto? Dana Brooke has vanished. Yeah, Dana Brooke would be good. Anybody like that. Anybody that can be put in a mini storyline, such as Buddy Murphy was, where they're losing down the luck, don't feel like they're getting their opportunities, and then Seth comes and manipulates them, basically. Because that's his idea. It's us versus them again. So it's like a Dark Order thing, but hey, wrestling's always stealing ideas from each other. I think, especially if it gets people, it's good to have diversity and varieties. Having you've got your two singles guys, you've got your tag team, and you should have a female in there. I'd take somebody else too. Who that is, I don't know. Maybe some kind of mentoring figure. But yeah, anyone that can benefit from it should benefit from it. And that's why we should go long with this. You don't want to go more than sort of 6 people max, because the ring starts to get too, it's just messy, right? It can get really messy. But we absolutely should try and use this to create stars, which is why I was a little bit eyebrow raising with the Aleister Black stuff. I was like, okay, we don't seem to have a plan. He black masked that guy to hell, and it was cool, and I like Aleister Black, but I felt like there should have been a feud waiting for him. But again, the Royal Rumble is Sunday, so we may start something there. Other than that, the Andrade and Rey Mysterio ladder match was incredible, I thought, for the United States Championship. It wasn't the best ladder match I've ever seen, but given it was the first match that we saw on Raw, I just can't believe. You go on the internet, everyone's talking about, they screwed up this and they botched that. These guys were killing each other. These guys were smashing ladders into each other's face. I know they went for the Canadian Destroyer or the Sunset Flip Powerbomb, and someone slipped or whatever. How the hell can you focus on a slip up or a botch, as the going word is, when these guys are absolutely throwing themselves around like that? I thought that was just crazy. Just crazy. And yeah, when Rey Mysterio was hanging from the belt and he tried to reverse the powerbomb, yeah, it kind of fell down. But it's a man falling from the sky. Sometimes it absolutely baffles my brain the bar that we hold wrestlers up to. They have to be perfect all the time, even when they're stood on some furniture, essentially. I loved it. And to have that as the first match on Raw, we lose sight. We do lose sight. As for the Humberto Carrillo thing, I appreciate that WWE are trying. If they want to make Carrillo a star, you've got to put him in positions like this. And of course, he revealed himself as the guy saving Rey Mysterio when Andrade was beating him up at the end. But yeah, you have to try. I mean, that's like everybody else that we've talked about. And, do I really feel engaged with him right now? No, I don't. But that's going to stay the same unless they put him in a position to do so. I think they're going to have a match this week at the Royal Rumble. I don't know. I don't think Humberto Carrillo should win the title. I think it's too soon. But if it's booked right and, we can get a bit of sympathy for him, then yeah, maybe he can turn into a cool star. It's much more fun than the same old. And it is different from the status quo. So I liked it as an angle. It didn't get a massive response when he whipped his mask off. But I get it. Raw, at least Raw is sensical from a mechanical point of view. We do have long-term story angles. Every week they progress. You don't have to like the angle. That's what I think some people, you wanted long-term storytelling, now you don't like it. No one is going to like every angle. It's a 180-minute show. You'd have to be crazy to enjoy everything they're throwing at you. But hopefully there's a couple of things that pique your interest so you'll sit along for the ride. And I do believe that's what WWE is doing all right now. I do. Didn't understand the Charlotte Flair promo, as we've already talked about. I don't think that benefited her. I don't think it benefited the Rumble. It's just somebody talking. I'd also love to know what we're doing with the Street Profits. Let me know in the comments now if you actually like that weird Saturday Night Live skit. I didn't mind the one when they were the bit when they were talking about reboots and they had the Miz and John Morrison there. I thought that was good, but it went on forever. The laughter track made it cringy as all hell. I didn't understand this. I don't. They're a really good tag team who got brought up from NXT as the champions, then had to lose the belts down in NXT. I just don't get it. So yeah, I would love people's opinion on that. Just went way over my head. Geeked Out Nation, the super chat says, how can SmackDown be so bad and Raw be so good? It's confusing. I don't think SmackDown is so bad. I just think the problem with SmackDown is that, a couple of angles they've got going on at the moment aren't like, I'm not massively invested in Roman Reigns, Baron Corbin, just because I feel like it's been going too long and there's not really a lot for there to jump in on, but I do think we'll end at the Raw Rumble. The Usos are good. It's a shame the Revival are sort of obviously maybe heading out the company, so they're not. I like the Fiend versus Daniel Bryan too. I think that's okay. Maybe not as good as the first time around. And I like seeing the Miz and John Morrison back together against the New Day. I don't think it's terrible. I always enjoy Raw a little bit more because when Raw is bad, it's hilarious. It's like a train wreck, and I do get a kick out of that. Everyone. I know some people are saying that they like the Street Profit segments. That's fair. Like they're not saying that you can't if you do enjoy it. It's just not for me. I don't understand. Within kayfabe, what are they? Are they wrestlers? Are they joke dudes? Are they backstage guys? I'm a bit confused by that. What the hell else happened on Raw? Let me get my notes up. I think I accidentally wiped over. That was stupid. If I'm correct, I've done that. I did. I wiped over my notes. It's all right. I have a backup. I always have a backup. It should be in here, if I am correct. I am. Boom. Right. So we had all the opening stuff. So we had Rey Mysterio and Andrade. Loved it. Don't understand the problem. Yeah, Brock Lesnar. Clearly, we felt like we had to have Brock Lesnar on this week's show because he is the focal point of the Raw Rumble stuff. And he just beats up Ricochet. I didn't think Ricochet coming out and saying everybody... It fell flat for me. And having Paul Heyman explain the entirety of what the Raw Rumble was... Yeah, I don't know. We don't need to talk about it. It was a miss. Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre was good. Charlotte promo weird. Becky Lynch, Asuka stuff. I think it was the highlight of my night. Tag team title stuff we talked about. Matt Hardy confusing. And then, we had the main event. So that is Raw. It's strange that we can get through it that quickly. But actually, it's good that we can get through it that quickly because it means we're doing less nonsense. Like a good 6 months or so ago, there was just so much craziness going on because we were just throwing stuff at the wall. Now we've blocked it better. Here's our Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton stuff that you already know about. Here's our Lana, Liv Morgan stuff that whether you like it or not, you already know about. Same with Andrade, Rey Mysterio. Same with all the Seth Rollins stuff. these are good. We have connecting threads that now link it together, which make it an episodic TV show. So I do think Raw is better. It doesn't mean you have to enjoy it every week. Sometimes they'll do better and sometimes they'll do worse. But overall, I thought it was probably a more of a negative show than a positive show this week. But in terms of the structure, 1,000 times better. Raw is in a much better place than it was, and it's interesting at least. And we can actually comment on the nature of the storylines as opposed to the confusion of what the flip. Shout out to Jason J in the super chat. It says, glad to be able to catch you live again. Happy to have you, Jason. Much appreciated. Not trying to jump ahead, but my big question is why Seth and Buddy are not AOP. Thanks for the positivity and hand on heart. Yeah, look, it's the question that everybody is asking, and I'd love to be able to tell you, but I don't have an answer. I just don't. I'm hoping we're going to find out next week. Again, I think the big reason, as we talked about earlier, is simple that they want to do Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe versus those guys, and they think there'll be more worth in that and can probably headline the card when Brock Lesnar goes away again if the tag team titles are on the line. I disagree. I think there's enough there with the personal beef, especially if the Authors of Pain are the champions, and you can do on those cards away versus the Viking Raiders as they do a feud, but... yeah, I don't. That's all I've got for you. Geeked Out Nation, the super chat says, remember when the Street Profits were wrestlers? No, I don't. That's why I don't understand. What are they meant to be doing? I like them a lot, but I want them to be put in situations where they can thrive, and I don't necessarily feel that right now. Vicky Brown in the super chat says, give me the Undisputed Era versus Seth faction spot in the Royal Rumble. Make Adam Cole and Seth ruin each other all the way up to WrestleMania. Now, that is some good stuff. And it will shine a spotlight on NXT, which they kind of need to be doing. If we're talking about NXT versus AEW, AEW's running away with it right now in terms of ratings. But yeah, if you can start working in main event guys back into the, to the NXT, to the main roster guys, we call it that for lack of a better term, back into the NXT program, and we've got it on paper, we've got the stats that will make people tune in. So, and it'll be interesting. It'll be different. I don't think they are going to do that. I think you'll probably see some Undisputed guys in the Rumble, and you may get sort of mini one-off feuds, but I don't think it's going to spill out afterwards. But hopefully I'm wrong. Dan Lemley in the Super Chat says, Street Mob Profits make the best of what they're given. No, I totally agree with that. It's not their fault whatsoever. They do a good job with it. I just don't like it. It goes on for so long, and I find myself tuning out. I find myself zoning out. I find myself going to look at my phone and pick it up, and when you're doing that, you're like, oh no. This was not the plan. So I just don't get it. I just don't really get it. But there's time for it to be explained. Maybe they're holding fire. I mean, the real issue is the tag team division in WWE. That is the problem. It's, the Authors of Pain, again, the tag team titles right now aren't even on a tag team, proper tag team. The Viking Raiders inserted themselves into a feud. They lose it straight away. I can't even think of any other teams. The OC obviously helping out AJ Styles, so they're not doing that. What other teams are there? I don't even know. See? Problem. Massive problem. Who Dat for life? Chris Fields in the super chat says, we want the smoke for the culture. Well, yeah, that's pretty much what they say. Just a bunch of catchphrases. And Scythe in the super chat says, hand on heart for you. Seth kind of reminds me of the bad guy from Far Cry 5. If he had disciples similar to that guy, it would be a hell of an angle, I think. I like that baddie too. The Far Cry 5 baddie. He would be like that. Far Cry 3 baddie as well was kind of like that too. What did he say? The definition of insanity. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to use video games to take inspiration for your angles. Why the hell not? I like it. I'm glad. I think the best thing about the Seth Rollins heel turn is that it goes to show that WWE listened. So many times they've been accused of not doing that, but he wasn't having a good run of it. People were running him down. They wanted to boo him. So now they've put him in a position where not only can he be booed, but he kind of stands to rights a little bit on what he's saying. Everything he's saying is true. He's just doing it in a bit of a dick way. I think it's the best thing that could have happened to Raw. I really do. It's much more interesting. It's opened a position for Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe, and I love those guys. Again, hopefully the Authors of Pain will benefit from that. And Buddy Murphy got in there too. None of this would have happened. And all of this is good to me. So, bravo to WWE there. So that was Raw. In terms of news, this is not going to be that exciting for anyone that's not living in the UK. But it was announced earlier, I think today, that Channel 5 is going to start airing 1-hour episodes or 1-hour cut-down episodes of Raw and SmackDown. That is massive, because Channel 5 is a very, very big TV station over here. It's free, and as far as I know, WWE has never... Well, they were on Channel 4, actually, back in the day. But yeah, it's only the second time that WWE has been on free television. I don't understand why BT are happy with this, but again, I don't know the ins and outs of the deal. But yeah, that's crazy big. I mean, you could kind of argue, depending on how you see AEW's deal with ITV, that the Channel 5 one is bigger and better. Obviously, they got to cut down a 3-hour Raw to 1 hour, so what you actually get out of that, I don't know. But Sky One used to do it with Raw all the time, and they made it work. I think this is going to be good. I really do. I think it's going to be good for WWE in this country, and clearly has been done to, fire a shot against everything All Elite Wrestling is doing. I think that NXT UK is going to be shown on Paramount. No idea if Paramount's free or not. I don't watch a lot of TV. I imagine that's a paid-for channel, but it's not free in terms of... Maybe it is on Freeview these days. I don't think it is. I think that's on Sky and Virgin, but I could be wrong. I absolutely have no idea. But still, that's another shot in the war against AEW. So let's not pretend that we're not that we're not at war now. We're 100% at war, and it's fun. It's fun. I like it. You don't have to worry about ratings as a fan. You just have to worry about the other... Well, the two companies pushing each other, which hopefully makes it more creative and more fun, and that makes for a better product, and then we all win. That's the way I see it, anyway. There was something else I wanted to talk about, which I have swiftly forgotten. We talked about Matt Hardy. I think Matt Hardy is pretty much... Well, and I could be getting worked, so I never want to say that, but if Matt Hardy doesn't end up as the leader of the Dark Order, I think at this stage I'll be disappointed. I think it makes sense for him at this time of his career. Obviously, Jeff Hardy is still going through his personal stuff, and obviously best wishes to him. You never want that to happen to anybody. I just think he'd have a resurgence, and I think he deserves that resurgence. He's probably only got a few more years left. He's a super creative dude. He's not being used in the way a legend that was. I don't think we needed to job him out to Eric Rowan. I don't see who that benefited. That storyline's not exactly banging right now. I think it would be good. I really, really do. I think it would save the Dark Order angle. I think Matt Hardy is such a name that it would get people interested. And hopefully it kind of sends a message to WWE that, you don't have to use them every single week, but try and utilize the guys on your roster better. Like someone like Shelton Benjamin. I'd be right with Shelton Benjamin having a mini feud that kicks off SmackDown each and every week, but instead he just turns up in random matches, and I'm not 100% sure why. It's very strange. Geeked Out Nation, the Super Chat says, Seth should recruit during the Rumble and get help to get to the end. That would be cool. It kind of defeats the whole purpose of every man for himself, but yeah, I would enjoy that. Little things like that make the Royal Rumble special. These storylines that are both born and die within that 60-minute match. Let me know in the comments as well, who's going to win the Royal Rumble? My choice is Roman Reigns. Not my choice, my pick when I actually think. And then I think Charlotte Flair will win the women's as well. Or Shayna Baszler, if there's a surprise there. Unless, obviously, Ronda Rousey turns up, you don't know. But they would be my guesses. But yeah, let me know who you think. Who Dat for Life, Chris Fields in the Super Chat says, I saw MLK being praised by WWE. Now I want a shoot by Miles. I don't know what that means, unfortunately, because I'm not cool. Yeah, they did go hard and heavy on Martin Luther King this week on Raw, as you should do. Vince McMahon's hero, as he said many a time. But yeah, the video they aired was... Well, inspirational and powerful. They do that every 365 days, and every time I watch it, I'm like, that's pretty... It's quite incredible when you think about guys like that and what they've done. What have I done? Nothing. Jason J in the Super Chat says, you keep ups and downs under 20 minutes and I understand everything. Surely they can do it in an hour, lol. Good point. You're right, they should be able to do that. A good editor should be able to go through it and pick out the bits that you need. People forget that. Sometimes I get messages and people go, Miller's 25 minutes this week, ups and downs. Show's 180 minutes. And I somehow managed to explain it to you in 25. Now, I could explain it to you in like 2, but you would have questions. You go, well, what happened here? What happened there? Oh, my battery's going to die. That's weird. I charged it last night. Hang on. The worst thing that can happen is this. But it's all good. You just get to see... Oh, man. I'm all tangled up. That's the problem. It's all right. We've sorted it. That's not going to reach. Professional here on Simon's Pro Wrestling Show. Professional till the end. But look, we did it. We're charging. Computer's happy again. Chicken Salad in the Super Chat says Donald Trump will win the Rumble. If you want to piss off the entire world, not a bad thing to do. Yeah, have Donald Trump win the Rumble. Hall of Famer Donald Trump and President of the United States. I can safely say they do not think are going to win the Royal Rumble. Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, and Donald Trump. Maybe Linda McMahon. She could win. A lot of people are saying Drew McIntyre. The only reason I can't see it being Drew McIntyre is that means it's Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I don't think they're going to do that match. I don't know who the hell Brock Lesnar is going to face at WrestleMania. I think Brock Lesnar will be taken out by his WrestleMania opponent. Little worried. This sounds more mean than I mean it to. I'm a little apprehensive that it could be Cain Velasquez because you can carry on that feud. But do I want to see Brock Lesnar versus Cain for the championship at WrestleMania? No, I don't. And then what do? Cain either loses again or Brock Lesnar beats, but Cain wins the belt. So I don't think we're ready for that now. I think that would be too much. So, but we will see. We will see what goes down. Before we get there, You just have no idea what WWE is. I mean, the cool thing about WrestleMania this year, if you believe what you read, is that WWE is waiting this year to see who's hot, who's not, before they put people in certain angles. Maybe that's why Brock Lesnar doesn't have a one-on-one match for the Rumble, because there's no one right now fits the bill. And that's I'd much rather my wrestling show be organic like that, and suit the current situation. I think that's much more of an interesting way to book a television program. AJ Park in the Super Chat said, remember, WWE used Matt and Lita's real life for a storyline. I refuse to believe this is not a work until we see him on another promotion. That's still a good way to be. I think the 2020 wrestling fan is almost built a barrier up around them not to be worked. But I don't mind being worked. And also, I win either way. If it's a storyline, it means Matt Hardy's going to get involved more on WWE TV. Great, I'm a massive Matt Hardy fan. Still think he deserves a run with the world title. And if I'm right and he is leaving, he's going to be on AEW and we're going to feature Matt Hardy more. So that's a strange thing to me when people say, oh, I can't believe I got worked by wrestling. It's good to be worked by wrestling. It doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't mean you got swerved. It just means you bought into a storyline emotionally and then they tricked you. And wrestling is one big trick in many ways. It hurts like hell. Can you see my bruise? It's probably not going to show up on camera properly, but I'll do my best. It looks really bad in real life. It doesn't actually hurt, but I'm not sure it looked good on camera. But that's wrestling. No one did anything untoward. You're throwing your body around. Things hurt, but ultimately, when you get backstage, someone says, you're doing this, you're doing that, and you go, yes, boss. It's a job. Drumslave86 in the Super Chat says, just join the stream. So if you have addressed this, but who does Seth and Buddy feud now with that they have the tag titles? Well, we have talked about this, and I'll talk about it again, because it is the name of the show, so it's only fair. But, the reason, just in the bruise, it looks worse on camera, excellent. The reason I think they have the titles is so they can feud with Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe, and backstage officials think it means more if they have the belts. I don't think they can, because obviously Brock Lesnar will go away, and they think they can headline house shows and whatnot with those four. That's what I think. But again, it's weird. It's weird when you've got a tag team right there. Why didn't they care? Why didn't they go, Seth, can we have the match? No, please. No, please. It makes more sense. Trust us. Geeked Out Nation, the Super Chat says, why did they keep the title on Brock? What does it do? Well, he gets paid a lot of money, which is always going to put you in good stead. He does come across as legit. He is a star. He is a main event star. People react when he comes out, although I will agree that I think we're past the point where it's beneficial. I want to see Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe again. I want to see Brock Lesnar versus Kevin Owens. I want to see Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, all of these guys. But I don't think they'll do that because they won't put the opponents in the title picture. And that's the main reason I think we need to get the championship off of Brock so that we can start having more fun. But that's why I think they do it. Who Dat for Life, Chris Fields in Super Chat says, Miles being that guy who quit WWE over his shirt issue. I don't know. Hang on. I don't even know who that is. Miles quit the shirt issue. Have I just forgotten about this? Oh, Jordan Miles. Oh, I see. Right, let me reread your thing that you put earlier. Now I'm with you. I see. Well, yeah. Well, one day he's going to come out and talk. But the thing with Jordan Miles, or ACH, is that a lot of people have said that he's not in a good place at the moment. And, mental health sucks. So who knows what's going on with that. Very, very tense situation. But yes, I totally forgot about all of that. Yeah, he quit wrestling. Now he's back wrestling. Just, good thoughts with him. Brandon Carvalho in the Super Chat says, do you think Kofi will win the Royal Rumble and regain the title? No. I think there's more chance of Brock Lesnar winning. I think Kofi Kingston's world title plans for now have been shelved, which is a massive shame. It did not end the best way. I didn't agree with it, and I just think we have to accept it. But oh well, what can you do? That's wrestling. And Kofi's done the best with it. He's got a great life. He's living his dream. You got to remember that sometime. He's riding high on top of the world, and more power to him, right? More power to him. It's just wrestling at the end of the day, and it does suck, and he does deserve more. He shouldn't have lost in 8 seconds. It should have been a competitive match. He should have got a rematch, but he didn't. So we'll just move on to whatever's next. That's just kind of the way of it. There was something else I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, Chris Jericho. Obviously, the cruise is going on right now. The Chris Jericho cruise. He announced the third one for next year. So fair play to him. His entrepreneurial skills continue to develop. Killer Cross has pulled out of WrestleMania bookings, so it seems like he's joined WWE. Will certainly be an interesting hire. EC3 apparently right now is out with a concussion. I mean, whether he's being used or not, I don't know. You'd have to imagine not, given that Vince McMahon doesn't seem very high on him. But other than that, no, surprising. Given that it's a Royal Rumble week, it's very quiet in terms of rumors and murmurings. Usually this time in January, everything's going off. Edge is the big one. And if you put a gun to my head right now, I'd say, first put down the gun. I'm happy to talk about wrestling. I'm doing it for free on the internet right now. I don't know. I can't call it. If he comes back, I think he should win, unless he's going to eliminate someone and himself at the same time to set up a program. But I think Edge is a main guy. He was a main dude back in the day. Like he was a serious guy. I don't think you can just ignore that. It would tie into an interesting WrestleMania program too, but I don't know. I don't really know. That would be the biggest surprise. You may get a Goldberg, and as awesome as, and I'll pop for Goldberg. It's not as exciting as it was just because he's come back a few times. That's what happens. It's not his fault. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Who do you want to see at the Royal Rumble? Stupid answers allowed. Obviously, Repo Man is the big one. So yeah, in 18 minutes, we'll jump over to What Culture Wrestling, and we'll watch Raw Ups and Downs live. So please join me there, and as well as subscribing to me, make sure you subscribe to those too. What else do I need to plug halfway through? Oh yeah, give me a subscribe. Just said that, idiot. At Simon316 on Twitter and Instagram. New t-shirts going up on simonmiller.bigcartel.com soon, so check those out if you'd fancy. And again, yeah, if you want to join in, just use the super chat and we'll go from there and we'll talk about it. Or in general though, if you just start spamming the comments with questions, we'll try and get through some of those too. Jason J in the super chat says, what are the chances that Hardy, Harper, Rusev go somewhere other than AEW? Any chance they, Hardy specifically, get booking rules, i.e. Marty Scurll? I think Matt Hardy will go to AEW. I think Matt Hardy has a good relationship with those guys. I think he'd want to be on the biggest stage possible, which is the right that he's earned. As for everybody else, I mean, the thing with Luke Harper is AEW just booked a show in Luke Harper's hometown in February, March, when his 90 days is up. So I'm 99% sure Luke Harper's going to AEW. But I do think that Marty Scurll, has already shown that he has significant sway at Ring of Honor. I mean, El Phantasmo is on that Supercard of Honor. Will Ospreay is there. A load of New Japan guys. And that's because of Marty Scurll. So there's every chance that Ring of Honor may be about to make a resurgence. And if they do team up with AEW in some sense, that may even be more beneficial. So you're right. It's not a guarantee or a lock they'll go to AEW. Rusev would be someone that would be massively interested. Would he be better in New Japan? I don't know. I can't imagine a Rusev outside of WWE because that's all I've known of him. But I think there's something there. As you know, if you watch any of my stuff, I'm a big Rusev fan. But we'll have to wait and see. We shall have to wait and see. But absolutely, there's always a chance. And if you offer enough money, which clearly Ring of Honor have, and Matt Hardy had a great run at Ring of Honor. His tag team run with Jeff Hardy there was awesome. The Young Bucks match, brilliant. Last thing they did before they jumped back to WWE. So maybe he feels like he's got unfinished business. Who Dat for Lies Chris Fields in Super Chat says, oh, it vanished just as I said that. For Pete's sake, Vince, pull the down trigger on Benji Yim. You may be waiting a while, my friend. But look, I appreciate your dedication to the cause, and we'll keep everything crossed. Drumslave86 Super Chat says, complete fan booking. What if Keith Lee came out at number 2 in the Rumble? I think he should. I think if you want to get Keith Lee over, Keith Lee getting thrown at the Rumble by Brock Lesnar is not a problem. Have him almost throw out Brock, have him tease it, have them go back and forth, then number 3, 4, 5, and 6 comes on. Eventually, Brock can throw Keith Lee out, and hopefully down the line, you've set up Brock Lesnar versus Keith Lee. It only helps Keith Lee. It only gets people behind him. And the fact that he wasn't able to achieve his goal this time gives him sympathy with the fans, which is what we need. It's why if Matt Riddle and Goldberg are in it, let them do a little spot. Let Goldberg chuck out Matt Riddle, as long as you've got a plan down the road for that revenge to happen. That's what the Royal Rumble should be. It should build up little feuds we can do down the line. And someone gets the upper hand here, and the other person gets the upper hand there. Because clearly Goldberg, I love Goldberg. He's one of my favorites ever. But ultimately, Matt Riddle beating him is going to be much bigger for Matt Riddle than vice versa. So absolutely, Drum Slave. That's the kind of stuff that we should be doing. Sean Gearhorn says, could you read the question in the chat? Was too long for here. All right, Sean, I'll do my best if I can find it. There he is, got it. Any chance that Aleister Black eliminates Brock or actually wins the Rumble? I wouldn't mind Black versus Brock at Mania. Brock normally does well against smaller opponents, and Black carries himself as someone. Like we've just said, why not? If you have Aleister Black win the Raw Rumble and you push him properly, you have a brand new star, which is what Raw needs right now. I don't think there'd be a massive if you're worried about internet community backlash, which WWE are to a certain extent, Aleister Black can do it in that position. And from a more casual point of view, if you do it right, maybe people will gravitate towards. I mean, you probably should have pushed him more on Raw and given him something a bit bigger to get people super excited. But hey ho, I don't think it's going to happen. And I'd love to see Brock versus Aleister Black. It's a different match. And right now, I think I'm crying out for something different. I understand you have to have marquee names. But I, as a fan that is going to watch regardless, I am crying out for new matches. Hence why when Buddy Murphy got inducted, I was like, sweet, that's different. And that's fresh, and it gets me excited. Where am I going now? I'm going to my man Alexander Falkenstein, one of the best matches names we have. Simon, do you think the WWE will ever allow anyone to tie Stone Cold's 3 Rumble victories, or maybe even 4 times? If so, who should it be, or who would you like to prefer it personally? No. No, I don't. I think Stone Cold Steve Austin still carries so much weight that he can. I mean, the only people that could do it. How many did Hulk Hogan win? 2. So Randy Orton's won 2. That's it, right? Shawn Michaels won 2? Okay, so Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan are out of it. They're not going to win 2. Did Triple H win 2 as well? He won 2002, and yes, he won the Roman Reigns one when he won the belt. He's not going to win the Royal Rumble. So it's Randy Orton is the only guy. So no, I don't think that if somebody was... No, I don't think you need to beat it. I don't want to see somebody winning the Rumble 3 times in the modern day. I just don't. Unless they really, really get over. I mean, every time Stone Cold won, it had to win. You know, it made sense for him to win. People wanted him to win. Like, you were giving the fans what they wanted. But no, out of everybody that's in the position to, I mean, Hogan's not, Triple H is not, Shawn Michaels is going to not. I don't see Randy Orton winning it for a 3rd time because I don't think he needs to. John Cena must have won it twice, right? Has John Cena won it twice? That could happen. I can totally see Brock Lesnar, John Cena, what's going on in my brain? John Cena coming back for this one and winning it. Maybe. I could be wrong. But then I can see him going on and beating The Fiend or Brock Lesnar and getting his 17th championship. That wouldn't be too out of the realms of possibility. So yes, maybe John Cena. I don't think he needs to win it, but I could see it happening. Outside of that, no, somebody would have to start afresh. Shinsuke Nakamura's not going to go on to win 2 more. Sheamus has won 1. He's not going to win 2 more. Who else? Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, maybe. How many Roman Reigns won? Just 1. Roman Reigns could do it. But I wouldn't want any of these things to happen. I just wouldn't. These aren't exciting Rumble winners. I'd like an exciting Rumble winner. And obviously, let me know if I've missed anybody. Chas Shaw in the Super Chat says, subscribe to Kayfabe News. Hand on heart. Yes, please do subscribe to Kayfabe News. I should say that. It is, of course, your one-stop shop for onion-style professional wrestling coverage. It is going to be a little bit late this week because somebody may have sent Phil the wrong file. That would be me. And then someone may have been out all weekend and had to wait till he came back on Sunday to send Phil the correct file. Never done that in my many years of this job. Did it this weekend. I was embarrassed. Jason J. in the Super Chat says, Miller for number 30 at the Royal Rumble. Thanks for the positivity. Well, it's in Texas, right? I better fly out now because I have no plans to do so. Can you imagine if I was actually in the Royal Rumble and you just didn't know? I mean, I'm not. You'll be surprised to hear. But it would be cool. I often think about things like that when my brain wanders. It must be amazing for somebody like... Who's brand new to the company? I can't even think. But come up with whoever you want. When they get told they're going to be in the Royal Rumble. Just when you first get signed to a deal. It must be crazy to have these crazy, almost over-the-top dreams, but achieve them. And have that contract with WWE written on it. Like, fair play. Talking about WWE, actually. NXT UK. It may be a work. I don't think it is. It seemed like Eddie Dennis has gotten injured again. I just wanted to give a shout out to Eddie Dennis. He's always been very nice to me. He trained me for a while and hopefully will again. And yeah, he's gone through 2 pec surgeries as far as I'm aware. And I think he separated his shoulder. And that sucks. He's a really, really nice guy. He's a really, really good, he gets wrestling to say the least. And that really upset me when I heard that. So I don't think he watches this. I doubt it very highly. But just as a random shout out to someone who, like I say, has always been a good dude. I hope Eddie Dennis gets better sooner rather than later and gets back to doing what he does. Had to give up his Progress title and obviously he was at the NXT UK show in York, I think, when he did it. So all the love to Eddie Dennis. David Ayres in the Super Chat says, it feels like Roman has won the last 10 Rumbles. I know, right? That's why I got confused. But apparently he has only won 1, I think. I may be wrong. We should talk about the Women's Rumble more as well, of course. Like Becky could win 3. That's a very good point. Becky could win 3. We've got, Becky won 1 and Asuka won 1. They both could do it, I think Charlotte Flair will win this one. So yeah, you could probably do that, and you should do that. You should start building up records on that Royal Rumble. That makes it much more fun. It gives it a history and gives it... Purpose is not much, but it's just more fun. Like, the Royal Rumble by numbers. 30 men enter at 60-second intervals. Spoiler, it's not 60 seconds. Here's a loser thing to do this year. Time it. Time it this year. And see what happens. I should say as well, make sure you tune into Thursday's show. Thursday, 1 p.m. It'll be later on Thursday. Thursday at some point, make sure you tune into the live show. We're going to do Miller's Royal Rumble sweepstake. Here's how it's going to work. Not now. In the Super Chat, any Super Chat that comes through, just put a number from 1 to 30 in at the end, and you all go into a hat, and the win. So even if like 10 people are number 10 and number 10 wins, you all get a prize. I was going to make it money, read into it, bad idea. I get in a lot of trouble. But I've got loads of stuff I can give away. I've got games, I've got all kinds of stuff. But we'll do that on Thursday. I want to do it on Thursday. Because I thought if I do it over 2 streams, it's going to be too much. So yeah, Thursday, make sure keep an eye out for the notification. Join in. Any super chat counts as an entry. Whatever you want. There's no monetary minimum. You just put a number at the end, and I will total them all up as we go. I'll write them down, and whoever wins wins. Hopefully we get 1 through 30. If not, we'll have a problem. But we'll sort that when we get to it. Sidewalk Closed and Super Chat says, glad Murphy has a main roster title. Love you, Simon. Love you too, Sidewalk Closed. All my love to you. Yes, me too. It's this amazing thing where, because we have respect for wrestlers, maybe in a different way than we did back in the past, even though storyline-wise you may roll your eyes a bit, the cool thing, the great takeaway is that Buddy Murphy has gone from, I think, being a little bit disillusioned in WWE to being a World Tag Team Champion against a bona fide main eventer. That is awesome. That is brilliant. It really is, and you don't think the same. That's fine, but it makes me pleased. It really does. It makes me massively pleased. I was over the moon for old Buddy Murphy. I don't even know him. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't care, nor does he have to care. But it put a smile on my face when I saw it. I was like, sweet, Buddy Murphy getting his due. He worked hard, and now it's paying off. I'm just looking to see if anything is broken over the last few minutes, because it happened once, and now I'm always worried it's going to happen again. Picture of Asuka looking over the ring, one of the best things that happened in ages. I love it. Asuka is the best. And everyone just talking about whether Brock's going to win the Rumble. Am I against Brandon winning the Rumble? Brandon, because Brandon just did a super chat. I'll get to you in a second. I'm not against Brock winning the Rumble, you know. I'm a bit of a mark for Brock Lesnar. When he actually destroys people, and because the internet gets so mad, which I do get a little bit of entertainment from because it gets so angry, I don't think that's the worst thing ever, depending on what the fallout of it is. And I understand it's boring. I don't know. We'll see. My man Brandon Super Chat says, fantasy booking. The Rock wins the Royal Rumble and faces Brock again at Mania since he didn't face Brock after losing to him first time. The Rock is not going to come back at the Royal Rumble, Brandon. I know you're fantasy booking. You don't actually think it. But just as you brought the situation up, given everything recently with his father, and obviously, you know, as we've said already, thoughts and well wishes to the Johnson family, because, you know, losing your dad is awful. He just has no need to come back. The Rock is bigger than the WWE. He just is. Some people, this is true, some people don't even know that Dwayne Johnson is called The Rock. I read an article on him the other day, and one of the most asked questions is, why do some people call you The Rock? And he had to explain that he used to be a wrestler. And they were like, wow, he used to be a wrestler. He has transcended. And wrestling was a tiny... If you actually think about what The Rock's been doing in his entire life, wrestling is this minuscule little piece. I would say it's on par with the NFL in terms of timelines. It's tiny. He's just this huge, huge dude. And he doesn't need to wrestle. He doesn't need to come back. There's no amount of money they can offer him. He's set for life. He's not going to win the Royal Rumble. I don't believe he's ever going to have a match again. I think you'll see him again. I think he'll do appearances. But I don't think he'll ever do a match. Maybe when he's like 58. If he's still in good shape, he may do something. And if he can get cleared. But I don't think The Rock is coming back. And you can be happy about that. And you can be sad about that. Right, we've got a few minutes left. If you've got any questions, just throw them in the chat now, and I'll just grab as many as we can as we go. Let me see if I can find one as we go now. Someone says, I'm going to win a WWE title before Cesaro. He's already won tag titles. He's fine. Wasn't he US champion for a bit as well? Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. There's so many. Those titles change hands. Change hands so much. Not a lot of strong contenders to win this year's Royal Rumble. It's true. It's kind of difficult. Love you, Simon, and thank you for the advice for wrestling with cerebral palsy. Edge returns and wins. You're very welcome, Austin. I'm glad it helped. If Edge returns and wins, that's good Royal Rumble, as far as I'm concerned. Proper surprise. Even with the rumors, it's still a surprise. Mr. Slump in the Super Chat says, your recent wig jokes have me wondering if it is compensation for the lovely chap over at Kayfabe News having a luscious head of hair. Look, me and Philip Marks, no relation. None. I respect his work. I respect his family's legacy. But other than that, I think he's a bit of an ass. But there's no connection there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know what my man Mr. Slump is talking about, check it out, Kayfabe News. There's a load of videos there now. Some with many, many dislikes because the internet is too gullible for its own good and doesn't get a joke. Doesn't understand the difference between joke and clickbait. But you know what? That's always going to be the way now. There's nothing we can do. Jokes and clickbait are just the same thing. Do you think Asuka beating Becky would add to that narrative? Yes, 100%. I hope it happens, but I doubt it. Simon, do you use creatine? And if so, when do you use it? Dan, I promise we got a video on supplements going up soon. Keep an eye on the channel. Shayna or Ronda to win the Rumble? I think there's a big chance. If Ronda is coming back, she has a lock. If Shayna's going to debut, or re-debut, whatever you want to call it, I think she should too. And Who Dat for Life, Chris Fields in Super Chat says, my picks for the Raw Rumble are Drew and Naomi. That's a good shout. A returning Naomi. If she's over, people like her. It has been too long. And again, if she's going to come back and get a good push, much like we said about Aleister Black, do it. Double down. Push her to the moon. She's really talented. She's really athletic. Why hasn't she been on TV? Absolutely great question. I wish the Bar would get back together. I know what you mean. Quite like Sheamus on this singles run. Quite excited about Chad Gable versus Sheamus at the Rumble. I'm worried that Sheamus is going to kill him in like 3 seconds because they think he's going to Daniel Bryan Chad Gable, which it will not. But if they let them actually have a good match, I think you've got proper skills versus brawn, not Strowman, like strength brawn. So that will be good. Drew is the one I never think face before Bobby 2 want Drew to win. 1 month until Slipknot was Behemoth gig. Keith Lee for the Rumble. Yep, I think Keith Lee will be in. I think that's 97.2% sure. And Ronda has the Women's Rumble 1. I think the 3, if you were to tell me the 3 favorites for the Rumble based on my stupid brain, Shayna Baszler, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair. And I've got a sneaking suspicion that if it is Ronda Rousey, you may do Charlotte versus Ronda at WrestleMania and do Becky versus Shayna. So Charlotte's thinks she's going to win, gets screwed over again by Ronda, who she also didn't know was going to be in the Rumble, by the way, much like Becky Lynch last year. But then Shayna goes off with Becky to get back at this. That's good. I should book wrestling. Where's my phone called WWE? There's my phone. Anyone there? No one there. Unbelievable. Chad Gable, never heard of him. Good point. Shorty G. Shorty G. I talked to someone the other day and they said, I refuse to call him Shorty G. I was like, I'm glad that went well. Well done, Vince McMahon. It does sound like a biscuit. Sheamus versus Braun for the IC title might be a good feud. Yeah, I'd enjoy that. Braun Strowman is definitely winning that belt when he takes on Shinsuke Nakamura. That's something that I'd bet my head on that. Literally, I'd say, here's my head, and I'd rip it off, and I'd give it to someone, and I know that it was going to come back to me. And if there was some sort of magical thing where you could take your head off, but you only had 1 minute before you could put it back on, I would wait for the last minute of that match and take it off. That's how confident I am that Braun Strowman's going to win the Rumble. Thankfully, I can't bet my head. So even if I'm wrong, nothing bad is going to happen. And on that weird note, we'll end the show. Again, make sure you tune in on Thursday. It will be later on Thursday because I'm out and about at a meeting. But Thursday afternoon, evening-ish, come enjoy Simon Miller's Royal Rumble sweepstake. Again, all you got to do is, super chat, put a number at the end. I'll write your name down. And if your number is correct, you will win a prize. And I will make sure I have enough prizes for everybody to go round. I've already started bringing them together, and we'll see if this works. Otherwise, please hit subscribe if you haven't already. Please follow me on Twitter, Instagram at SimonMiller316, patreon.com/SimonMiller316. I don't mean to push it. I make no money from YouTube, absolutely zero, other than super chats and Patreons. So thank you so much for all the super chats today. And if you could support me on Patreon, even with $1, it just allows me to do this. You know how life works. Money is time, and time is money. And the more finances I have coming in from there, the more time it gives me to do this. We'll keep smashing out the fitness stuff too. Thank you to everyone who said very nice words about that. I'm glad it's resonating in some sense. Make sure you head over to What Culture Wrestling right now. We'll do Ups and Downs live together. I'll be there in the chat. You'll see my name. It will be blue, and there'll be a little bit of a spanner. And if you can't join me again this week, make sure you enjoy the Royal Rumble. It is the best event of the year. It comes around once only 365 days. Get your friends around. Get a pizza going. Put a smile on your face and enjoy it as best as you can. SimonMiller.BigCartel.com for merchandise. Shout out to PinsandKnuckles.com. That's it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Get me to 100,000 followers. Hit the bell so you get notifications so you don't miss out on Simon's Royal Rumble sweepstakes. That is enough promotion from me. It's got to be done. I will see you soon.